Imagine being angry every day. Every day. Just try to imagine that. Just for a brief moment. Okay. All right. This is a little crooked. All right. One moment. Okay, that's much better. Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and jump into it. All right. There is neither Jew nor Greek. Salvation to all men. Okay, we're going to go into it. We're all one in Christ. His name is not Christ. That's the title, Hamashiach, the anointed. Okay, that's a Greek pronunciation, or from the Greek, Christos, Hamashiach, the anointed one. Okay, let me check the sound real quick. See how we're doing. All right, good. Shalom. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Call Halimla Yahweh. Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Bahashem. Rikakadash. All praises be to the Most High, Yahweh, in the name of His Son and our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shai, to the 144,000. Double honor and respect to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Coming back at you with another lesson. There is neither Jew nor Greek. Salvation for all men. Okay, I'm going to go into that. Let's do it. We are the world. We are the children. We are the one. Got the rest of it. There are people dying. We're saving our own lives. Absolute madness. We got to get the hell out of here. Yep. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and save this real quick. Salakia. Yep. Okay. Let's do one more. They mess with these videos and shadow banning them. But really, the Lord is doing that because the message is only for the elect. So the Lord is allowing him to do that. He doesn't want everybody. That's why Yahweh Shai spoke in parables. And many things he said privately unto them. Private, speaking secretly. There are segments about the doctrine where we should not discuss openly on this type forum. See? That even applies today. Certain things we just shouldn't say. Yep. All right. So, let's go into it. Yesterday at camp, I re-uploaded that video, by the way. The last 20 minutes really whittled down to the last 12 minutes of yesterday's live stream. The Evil E cut it off with about 30 minutes to go. They cut off my live stream. So I went on to GMS Truth Be Sent and downloaded and then re-uploaded it. So I want to go into this there was neither Jew nor Greek, or all one. Okay. So one of Paul's mission was to go out to the dispersed. And these are southern kingdom, primarily Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, that were dispersed throughout the Greco-Roman footprint, throughout the scattered areas, Colossia, Ephesus, Thessalonica, so forth and so on. So these were those that were cut off from their heritage. Let's go here. And these are some scriptures that came out. So I want to tackle a couple of these. Second Maccabees 4. Let's go here. Second Maccabees 4. Let's go to we got to start at verse 9. And this is going into the Maccabees. Second Maccabees 4, verse 9. Beside this, he promised to assign 150 more if he might have license to set him up a place for exercise and for the training up of youth in the fashions of the heathen, and to write them of Jerusalem by the name of Antiochians. Because remember, the Israelites were first called Christians at Antioch. So this is going into the history under the Greek captivity. Seleucids, Antiochus, which is called Epiphanes. See, he took the kingdom. And when you go to verse 7, but after the death of Seleucus, when Antiochus, called Epiphanes, took the kingdom, Jason, the brother of Onias, labored underhand to be high priest. So he paid for the high seat, a high office. See? So after the fashions of the heathen, so they're taking on the identity of the Greeks, which are the descendants after Alexander the Greek. They conquered those areas, who came after his father, King Philip. Second Maccabees 4, verse 10, which when the king had granted and had gotten into his hand the rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to Greekish fashion. So there's neither Jew nor Greek. We're all one in Christ Jesus. Well, first of all, it's talking about Israelites that were speaking Greek, calling themselves Greeks. No different from today. When you go into that word Greek, it's Hellenista, which are Greek-speaking Jews. When you look up the definition, it says Greek-speaking persons, but we know the context is speaking to the Israelites that were living in that area. No different from today. 500 years from now, you got East Indians here calling themselves American. You have so-called Africans calling themselves American. They're all speaking English. See? It's not much of change. You got Chinese people here calling themselves American, speaking English. Second Maccabees 4, verse 10, which when the king had granted and he had gotten into his hand the rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to Greekish fashion. See, Jason, he was even wearing hats, which come from the Greeks, and the royal privileges granted of special favor to the Jews by the means of John, the father of Eupolemus, who went ambassador to Rome for amity and aid. He took away and putting down the governments which were according to the law. He brought up new customs against the law. So you had Israelites growing their hair long, Israelite women becoming carpet munchers, Israelite men becoming fudge packers. See? Dyeing their hair pink, purple, red, green, wearing long hair, wearing togas. See that? Wrestling each other buck naked. If you're naked and we at the swimming area, don't touch me. Don't even touch me. Okay? So the Israelites took on the covering, the nationality, the skin, if you will, of the Greek fashion customs. This is not hard. So they forsook the law of our forefathers. That's in here. I'm trying to remember where I read it though. Let me see here. Let's go to 2 Maccabees 8. 2 Maccabees 8. And let's go to 17. 2 Maccabees 8. Let's go to 17. And to set before their eyes the injury that they had unjustly done to the holy place, and the cruel handling of the city, wherewith they made a mockery, and also taking away of the government of their forefathers. So we took on the fashions of the heathen, Greek cultures, Greek language, Greek style of dress, their worships, their religion, their gods. I mean, you can't make this up. We're not making this up. So there's neither Jew nor Greek. That's primarily the southern kingdom that were dispersed. See? 2 Maccabees 7, verse 1. It came to pass also the 7 brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the law to taste swine's flesh. You got the McRib sandwich. So we're under the Greco-Romans today. They've been reincarnated. You got the Baconator. What kind of bullshit is this? The McRib sandwich. Pork ribs. Okay? The BLT. Bacon, lettuce, and tomato. The hell out of here. See? 2 Maccabees 7, verse 1. It came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king to eat swine's flesh. Let's read it again. It came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the law to taste swine's flesh, and were tormented with scourges and whips. So we were being conformed to the fashion of this world under the Greco-Roman Empire, and in this context, under the Greeks before the Romans took over. So we were calling ourselves Greeks. But one of them that spake first said thus, What wouldest thou ask or learn of us? We are ready to die, rather than to transgress the laws of our fathers. So we were given a law for our heritage. I think that's Sirach 17. This is not hard. Only orangutans with dry lips make this hard. This is not hard at all. See? Sirach 24 and 23. Sirach 24 and 23. On these things are the book of the covenant of the Most High God, even the law which Moses commanded for a heritage unto the congregations of Jacob. Can't make this up. So we forsook the covering of our power, Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, and we got redressed in Roman and Greek attire. More essentially, we were clothed with their worships, their religious practices, and abominations, idolatry. Sirach 24 and 23. All these things are the book of the covenant of the Most High God, even the law which Moses commanded for a heritage unto the congregations of Jacob. So we forsook that, and we took on the fashion of the Greeks. Let's go back to Second Maccabees. 2 Maccabees 4, verse 10. There was neither Jew nor Greek. See? So we took on the ways of our oppressors. 2 Maccabees 4, verse 10. Which when the king had granted, and he had gotten into his hand the rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to Greekish fashion. So we started calling ourselves Greek. And the royal privileges granted of special favor to the Jews by the means of John, the father of Eupolemus, who went ambassador to Rome for amity and aid. He took away in putting down the governments which were according to the law. He brought up new customs against the law. So Greek fashion, Greek worships, their ways of eating. They ate pork, swine's flesh. One man would go into the backside of another man. They wore long hair. They dyed their hair red, pink, green, purple. The hell is this? So just total rebellion, Hellenized. Verse 12, where he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself, and brought the chief young men under his subjection and made them wear a hat. See, even Sakari, they like teaching with a hat on. Okay? So these are customs that are not of our forefathers. So we forsook the ways of the ancient men. See, right here, 2 Maccabees 4 and 13. Now such was the height of Greek fashion. Let's read it again. 2 Maccabees 4 and 13. Now such was the height of Greek fashions and increase of heathenish manners through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch, and no high priest. So he bought his office. Many of these politicians in America knew that today. They pay for their office, come from families of wealth. But this is an Israelite, a sellout, that paid for a high seat, which he was really no chief high priest. This is probably Alazar from Sakari, putting himself up as a high priest. 2 Maccabees 4 and 15. 2 Maccabees 4 and 15. Not setting by the honors of their fathers. Let's read it again. Not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liken the glory of the Grecians best of all. See? So we became Greeks. And those calling themselves Grecian, these are Israelites that knew who they were. Okay? Those calling themselves Greeks, they didn't even know who they were. But essentially, the main takeaway is we were Hellenized under the Greeks and took on their ways. Let's go to 1 Maccabees 8. So we were being put to death for circumcising our kids, following the ways of our fathers. And if we would not eat swine's flesh or pork, we would get put to death for calling ourselves Jews. Let's go to 1 Maccabees 8, verse 9. Moreover, how the Grecians had determined to come and destroy them. See? You can't make this up. So this is under Antiochus. Now, many Israelites had conformed to their ways, joining themselves unto Antiochus and his military. Hey, let's go up. 1 Maccabees 8. Wow, I was in the spirit. I'll tell you, I did not know this was coming up. You know, my memory is not the greatest. Hey, we got to be led by the Spirit. Let's read this. 1 Maccabees 8 and 1. Now Judas heard of the Romans that they were mighty and valiant men. Now Judas had heard of the Romans that they were mighty and valiant men, and such as would lovingly accept all that joined themselves to them, and make a league of amity with all that came unto them, and that they were men of great valor. It was also told him also of their wars and noble acts, which they had done among the Galatians, and how they had conquered them and brought them under tribute. See? So there's many Israelites that are joining unto Antiochus. Well, you had some fighting after the ways of their fathers too, and that were aligned under Judas. But it went both ways. Remember, the Israelites are dispersed. Their loyalties are divided because of rebellion. Hey, in Proverbs 6, it says that a woman can cause, in Proverbs 6, a woman can cause a man to be whittled down to a piece of bread. Look what happened to King David after a woman. Essentially, it caused the nation of Israel to be split into two, northern kingdom and southern kingdom. So to be beat down to a piece of bread in Proverbs 6 of a man, you're devoured by other nations. Those fowls of the air devour you. A man whittled down to a piece of bread. Let's keep going. Now Judas had heard of the Romans that they were mighty and valiant men, and such as would lovingly accept all that joined themselves unto them, and make a league of amity with all that came unto them. See, so Rome would just make you pay tribute unto them, absorb you underneath their umbrella. And you could keep your customs for the most part, and that they were men of great valor. It was told him also of their wars and noble acts, which they had done among the Galatians, and how they had conquered them and brought them under tribute. Hey, Paul, one of his missions was to go to the dispersed of Galatia. Hence, we got the book Galatians. So his job was to concentrate on those that was dispersed out of the area of Jerusalem. And this is primarily southern kingdom, but there were sprinkles of the northern kingdom in there too. And what they had done in the country of Spain for the winning of the mines of silver and gold, which is there. Wow. Let's go here. 1 Maccabees 8, verse 8. In the country of India, and Media, and Lydia, and of the goodliest countries, which they took of him, and gave to King Eumenes. Moreover, how the Grecians had determined to come and destroy them. So there's Israelites scattered into all these areas that Paul was given that mission to spearhead, gathering them back. Let's go to verse 10. And that they, having knowledge thereof, sent against them a certain captain, and fighting with them slew many of them, and carried away captive their wives and children, and spoiled them, and took possession of their lands, and pulled down their strongholds, and brought them to be their servants unto this day. See? So we were taken captive under the Greeks, and then later the Romans. So we were being called Greeks, Grecian, later Roman. Unto this day, these same Greco-Romans are ruling over us now as Europeans, Americans. See? Can't make this up. You got the same Bible we had, but you don't want to read. Stop switching between your backside and your mouth with your thumb. That's hazardous to your health. You might wind up getting a bacterial infection. And let's read that again. First Maccabees 8 and 10. And that they, having knowledge thereof, sent against them a certain captain, and fighting with them slew many of them, and carried away captives their wives and their children, and spoiled them, and took possession of their lands, and pulled down their strongholds, and brought them to be servants unto this day. So we're under the Greco-Romans today. Edomites, a so-called white man. That's enough on that. Let's go to 2 Maccabees. I lost my damn place. 2 Maccabees 8. And my memory used to be razor sharp. Now I feel like I just got out of a Mike Tyson fight trying to read. Bugged out. 2 Maccabees 8 and 1. Then Judas Maccabees and they that were with him went privately into the towns, and called their kinsfolks together, and took unto them as such as continued in the Jews' religion, and assembled about 6,000 men. See, so they had to become freedom fighters against the Greco rule and authority and stronghold, to try to take their lands back and reestablish the customs and laws of their fathers. Our babies were being hung by the neck for not conforming to the Greekish fashions and customs and ways of the heathen. If you don't get it after this, the Lord is setting you up to burn by these nuclear missiles. You're going to swallow hot liquid lava. 2 Maccabees 8 and 1. Then Judas Maccabees and they that were with him went privately into the towns, and called their kinsfolks together, and took unto them all such as continued in the Jews' religion, and assembled about 6,000 men. Why do you think Yahushua would come back? Speaking privately and in parables. He's showing you we are the people of the dispersed, the diaspora. So we had to do this thing through parables, privately, prison talk. The captives can't speak blatantly, but it has to be codified. And they called upon the Lord, that he would look upon the people that was trodden down of all, and also pity the temple profaned of ungodly men. So the wicked the Greeks, the Romans, Edomites, ungodly men, and the Israelites that had aligned themselves under them. So the tabernacle of David is going to devour the rebels viciously. Okay, bloody, and viciously. The house of David is going to devour the rebels of Israel with great force and violence when the time comes through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. 2 Maccabees 8:3, and that he would have compassion upon the city sore defaced, and ready to be made even with the ground, and hear the blood that cried unto him. So blood is going to be repaid with blood, but the elect are covered by the blood of the Lamb. So no harm or evil shall come nigh unto them. And remember the wicked slaughter of harmless infants. So our women and men would circumcise our young babies, and they would be hung by their young necks by these Edomites, the Greeks. See, you don't think you got to pay for that? 2 Maccabees 8:4, and remember the wicked slaughter of harmless infants and the blasphemies committed against his name, and that he would show his hatred against the wicked. So there is a righteous indignation, hatred towards the wicked. Who is this talking about? It's talking about the Edomites that were called Greeks during that time. See, let's go here. 1 Maccabees 1. This is why they removed the apocrypha, the Bible destruction group. Look that up. 1 Maccabees 1. Right here, verse 9. And after his death, whose death? Alexander the Greek. See? So it's showing you who the wicked is. 1 Maccabees 1, verse 9. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years. And evils were multiplied in the earth. So now you got the Dukes of Edom that are descendants of the Greco-Romans, spreading evil throughout the earth, going after other nations' gold, oil, and drugs. And people, like young girls come up missing every year, and young boys. Most of the wealthy international banking elite, they like a young boy's backside. They only use their wives for photo opportunities, photo ops, and under the lights and glamour. But they really want a young boy. Okay, the wicked global elite. Alexander the Greek would have young boys summoned up to his king's courts and palace. See? So these generals would follow after their fathers of the Greeks and Romans. And in this context, the generals after Alexander the Greek, Lysimachus, Cassander, Ptolemy, Lysimachus, Cassander, Ptolemy, and Seleucids. God damn. I told you my memory. Seleucids, Ptolemy, Lysimachus, Cassander. You see? So these are generals after this line of the wicked root of the Greeks, the Edomites. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years. And evils were multiplied in the earth. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been a hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. See? So we took on the identity of the Greeks, the Israelites. And many Israelites joined themselves unto them. 1 Maccabees 1, verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So wicked Israelite leaders were piping our nation, our people, under the ways of our oppressors, to be called Greeks. 1 Maccabees 1, verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. See, this ain't no different from America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic. Who was called a republic? After the Greeks, Romans. See, to the republic for which it stand, one nation. What? One nation under God, indivisible, undividable. See? So under the Greek and Roman fashions, customs, courtesies, their gods, their worships, their gross diet, eating shrimp, crab, pork, lobster, man with a man, woman with a woman. See? So we became Greeks. Today we became Americans, Europeans. 1 Maccabees 1, verse 41. So this is what you would call a constitution today. Now we follow it because we are subject to the laws of the land, subject unto payments. But anything that goes against the God of the Bible, you cannot force us to do. Like take the miniaturized mark or might be, the mark. Okay? You can't force a man to be with a man. We can rebel when there's a certain line that you cross. 1 Maccabees 1, verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and every one should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Now, who are these heathen? Let's read one more. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbath. That's what made us heathen, taking on the Greekish fashion, their customs, their courtesies, their rituals, their worships, their dietary laws, their marriage laws. Now you can be a rod going into a backside or taking a rod in your backside. Anything goes when you're Hellenized. They are a lawless people. 1 Maccabees 1 and 44. For the king had sent by messengers unto Jerusalem and cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land. See? So this is mainly southern kingdom, but there were sprinkles of northern kingdom in there. From Asher, Ephraim. See? There's sprinkles of them in there too. So this is what made us heathen, Gentiles. There was neither Jew nor Greek. 1 Maccabees 1 and 43. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profane the holy Sabbath. So the Sabbath is not Sunday, and it's not every Friday to Saturday. It's based on the new moon. See? Well, this is not complicated. There was one more I wanted to get. See? First Maccabees 1, verse 57. Moreover, was found with any the book of the Testament, or if any committed to the law, the king's commandment was that they should be put to death. So we would be put to death, starting with our babies, our infants, if we followed the laws of our forefathers, according to the doctrine of our Heavenly Father, the blood oath and covenant that he made under Moses with the Israelites. See? We were being threatened with death if we did not conform or convert to the fashion, to the image of the Greeks. Now the image of the beast, the universal order under the Greeks, the Romans. First Maccabees 1, verse 57. And more, and whosoever was found with any the book of the Testament, or if they committed to the law, the king's commandment was that they should be put to death. Thus did they, by their authority, unto the Israelites every month, to many as were found in the cities. Let's read this one. Verse 60. See, let's keep going. Now the 25th day of the month, they did sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of God. So we became fully immersed or baptized under the ways of the heathen, fully immersed, baptized in their custom. First Maccabees 1 and 61. Let's go to verse 60. At which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised. So to follow the Bible became a crime. See that? To follow this Bible became a crime. The ways of our fathers. Many of these women today are back, of the elect ladies. And they hang the infants about their necks. Say what? First Maccabees 1 and 61. And they hang the infants about their necks, and rifled their houses, and slew them that had circumcised them. See? So our babies were being hung by the necks. Howbeit, many in Israel were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing. So the elect cannot be moved, swayed. They are a faithful city, the house of David. The faithful city is not talking about some man-made construction project with little men with orange helmets. Are you out of your damn mind? It's talking about a people. O Jerusalem, look about thee toward the east. The city is not going to turn with his forehead and neck with glasses on. It's talking about the elect. O Jerusalem, look about thee toward the east. See? There's a lot of bug out doctrines springing up out of everywhere. They're like weeds in the garden. It's got to be plucked up by the roots. Bug outs are us. And reprobates. They don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. These people are bugged out of their damn mind. Brother GMS must endure 144. Romans 11:4. But what saith the answer of God unto him? Yeah, Elijah was crying out, Lord, I'm surrounded by bug outs and murderers, you know, thinking he's isolated, all alone. And this is further proof the Old Testament is not done away with. Numbnuts. Why are we referencing the Old Testament here? Romans 11:4. But what saith the answer of God unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000. That represents completion. 7. Elect. Romans 11:4. But what saith the answer of God unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. So right now that image is the image of the beast, the descendants of the ancient Greeks, the ancient Romans. See? The New World Order, picking up the pieces of Antiochus and the rulers and princes after them from the line of the Edomites. Many Israelites are conforming to the image of the beast, and they're going to accept his mark, the Maccabee, to be married unto the slave master. They're oppressors. They love their master. I'm going to bend over, boss, and you go ahead and take what you want. Fast and furious and rough. This is not my first rodeo, boss. Go ahead and give me what you got, master. So they're going to bow down and bend over and take this man's mark, his rod, a little miniaturized Washington monument, digitized, to be married unto him through 5 and 6G technology forever. They want to make their matrimony here on this side. Okay? They have their consolation. So they want to be married into a system that they love and trust and hold so dearly to their heart or their mind. Gathered in holy matrimony in their mind, which is really unholy, married to the beast. Let's get one more. 2 Maccabees 6, verse 7. Let's go to verse 6. 2 Maccabees 6. We gotta go to verse 4. For the temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles, who dallied with harlots and had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places, and besides that brought in things that were not lawful. So we became Gentiles, heathen. See? So let's go to verse 1. 2 Maccabees 6, verse 1. Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers. So they made us them in their image, in their fashion, in their custom, in their cult, which goes back to culture. A set order of beliefs and values. It's a system of beliefs and values. It's not hard. 2 Maccabees 6 and 1. Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers and not to live after the laws of God. So we became one of them. Heathen, Gentile. There was neither Jew nor Greek. Come on now. So we're all one by the blood of the Lamb. The Israelites had a law of blood sacrifice, where we had to sacrifice blood for redemption and an atonement for our sins. The Israelites. 2 Maccabees 6, verse 5. The altar also was filled with profane things, which the law forbiddeth. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days, or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. I kept saying mostly Southern Kingdom. See, that Paul was going after, calling themselves Gentiles, calling themselves Greeks, Grecian, Hellenized after the fashion of the Greeks. 2 Maccabees 6, verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. You can't make this up. That's the understanding of that there is neither Jew nor Greek. Come on now. Stop the bullshit. Maccabees 4 and 15. You may have read it, or I forgot. Maccabees 4 and 15. 2 Maccabees 4, verse 15. Let's go to 14. Let's go to 13. Now such was the height. Yeah, we read this. Now we'll read it again. Now such as 2 Maccabees 4 and 13. Now such was the height of Greek fashions, an increase of heathenish manners, through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch and no high priest, sell out Israelites, false prophets, that the priests had no courage to serve any more at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hastened to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise, after the game of discus called them forth. They were exercising butt naked. Going into that word gym or hymnosium, nakedness, wrestling and exercising. Not setting by the honors of their fathers. See? So we forsook the holy covenant and the ways of our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the 12 tribes of Jacob, the patriarchal leaders. 2 Maccabees 4 and 15. Not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all. I'm American. I'm Grecian. I'm Roman. Even Paul was a Roman citizen, but he came out of that culture. He separated himself. See? There it is. There it is. There it is. Hopefully this lesson has been edifying. And just like every video, I'm just going to keep shadow banning him. This devil is hurt. Yep, evil E. The Greco-Romans, the Greeks, the Romans. Brother GMS, y'all what's up? Hopeful elect. All praises to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. B'Hashem Rekakadash. Brother GMS, y'all what's up? Hopeful elect. Jeremiah 6 and 16. Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the way and see, and ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. We're going to just conform ourselves to the fashion of this world, to the fashion of the beast, the image of the beast, and the fashion of this world. See, we want to become a universal citizen now. One people, under the Luciferians, the Illuminati, the so-called light bearers. One race, one religion, and under Lucifer. See? Permanent heathens, permanent fixtures that's plugged into the digital grid beast system and linked in to 5 and 6G technology. Essentially, the religion of the beast or the Luciferians is technology, science and technology. To be more specific, science and technology, to forsake the ways of the God of the Bible and to be linked in digitally. That's his mark. It has spiritual implications, but it is a physical mark, linking you or marrying you to the beast. But the Most High's mark is spiritual, which is made because of the sacrifice of the blood of the Lamb and tied to our faith in that sacrifice, which is given from the Most High, from above, giving us that faith to be linked in spiritually, sealed unto the day of redemption, purchased by the blood of the Lamb. So that is that marriage of the Lord's elect, sealing the covenant or the marriage vows with the nation of Israel through his anointed ones, which starts with the elect joining him through Yahushua, the mediator. There it is. Hopefully this lesson has been edifying. All praises to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua, B'Hashem, or Kwakadash. Double honor and respect to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. See you on the next lesson, Lord willing. Kwam Yasharala, Kwam Yasharala. And Baba, we got next, Lord willing, Barakatham, Shalom, Shalom. Let's go. God damn it, let's go. Let's go. No more pussyfooting around for our men out there. Let's go. Let's go.